And it don't matter.
It do matter.
It don't matter.
Hey, what you got to say for the show, man? We just started the show on the podcast. Who gonna win this week? Who you got?
Let's see.
You got tomorrow Baltimore versus Houston. Who you got?
I got Baltimore.
Okay. Green Bay and San Francisco.
You know what it is.
Who gonna win?
San Francisco go tear their ass up. Nigga.
I thought you was a Packers fan.
No, I'm not no Packers fan.
All right, what about the Bucks and the Lions?
What?
The Bucks and the Lions.
Oh, you know the Lions gonna tear their ass up, nigga. What are you talking about?
All right. Last game, Kansas City and Buffalo.
Buffalo gonna tear their ass up.
Buffalo gonna beat Kansas City?
Huh?
Buffalo gonna beat Kansas City?
They going to Buffalo.
I'm saying, you think they gonna beat Kansas City?
They gonna tear Kansas City ass up.
All right, what you gotta say to the fans, man? Shout you out real quick. You got a minute of fame.
You say who?
What you gotta say to the fans? You live on YouTube right now.
I don't give a fuck.
All right,
Buffalo gonna kick Green Bay's ass.
All right, everybody. This is my uncle Joe Dog and fella man.
They gonna tear their ass up.
Hey, tell the people that you be cooking it up. Where can they find you? They need to be able to contact you somehow.
Over here on the north side of Minneapolis.
Okay.
315 Lowry.
Okay, 315 Lowry in the high rise. What's the high rise called?
Lowry Towers.
Lowry Towers. All right.
1701.
All right. Penthouse Suite, huh?
Yeah, nigga. Nigga be cooking that good food.
Tell them what you be cooking.
Oh, man, I'm about to cook some collard greens tomorrow.
Okay.
And on the pork chops.
All right. Say what up. Say what up to my boy Parlay. He out here in New York.
What's up?
My boy Parlay, man.
What's good, bro?
Man, look, this nigga know I know how to cook. I got my little chef next to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
A little bitty peekaboo. That motherfucker can't even reach my motherfucking ankles.
Oh.
Yeah, he a little bitty dog, right?
Yeah.
Great.
All right, man. We gonna holler at you, huh?
Hey, nigga, why you put me on podcast, nigga? If you didn't want to.
No, we just want you to get you some fame. Now them people gonna hit you up, man.
Nigga, I don't need no fame. I already got my fame, nigga.
Tell them who you is, nigga.
So you with your daddy, ain't you?
Joe Dog, roof, nigga.
Roof, nigga. Bye.
Roof.
Take it away, Parlay.
You know what it is.
Man, we had to give y'all that, man.
I'm Parlay, Hunter.
And you know it's your boy Life of D Green. I know my lighting is a little bit off today. I feel
this.
We're good. Yeah.
This is a Bro Media production. We call it Bro Bets. That intro from Uncle Joe, one of a kind. That was a special moment, milestone here on Bro Bets. And you know what it is, bro. It's playoffs time, baby.
Hey, man. Hey, it's heating up in the kitchen. It's heating up, outside. In some places, not really heating up here in the frozen tundra. But yeah, Parlay, man. Hey, you know what? Real quick, bro. As I get back to the notes, man. Well, I want to shout out Parlay. He's been doing this 16 a day, man. It's been very motivational and very lyrical at the same time. And people are just looking at it from him trying to, continue to promote himself as an artist. But man, it's very inspirational because it's starting from day one. Now we're in the day 19 and everyone is telling a different story, man. So,
hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much, Dre. Dre, we've been through the ups and we've been through the downs. We've been doing what we got to do. And I see a lot of, I see a lot of growth between the both of us in our individual lives and on the podcast. And yeah, I'm very proud of that, bro. And so when we get into this podcast today, I'm excited because I just feel like the conversations that we have, bro, we feed off of the knowledge and we actually grow smarter as the season goes on. And even with when we talk about sports betting and we talk about that, I mean, it's a learning process, is it not? I mean, you really have to. It gets really tight. You know what I'm saying? Like you go through the wins, you go through the losses, and it gets really really tight. You know what I'm saying? And the NFL is unpredictable. Like, I mean, we're gonna talk about the Steelers and stuff, and I mean, nobody really thought that they were gonna make it into the playoffs, right? I mean, the loss in the playoffs it sucks, but I mean, you guys had no chance of making the playoffs 8 weeks ago. Isn't that just football for you? I mean, it's just so unpredictable.
I mean, I didn't know where you were going with this. You started off talking about, we started off giving you praise on your 16 a day, and then you have the nerve to run and talk about my team losing. I don't know. I don't know how I should feel. I was up there with you. Now
Yeah.
I'm right
I
here.
know.
But I mean, yeah, it's unpredictable.
Yeah.
I wasn't even gonna go there. But let's get to the show here, man.
I'm
Houston,
sorry, bro.
Houston, we have a problem. We have a great problem, Parlay. Man, Houston last week, 45-14, beat your former team that you used to root for when you lived in Cleveland. Cleveland Browns, man, what do you got to say about this game? We're not talking about the divisional. We're talking about the recap to this wild card game. What do you have to say about that game?
It's that guy, CJ Stroud, bro. Like, we really have to look at this guy like Peyton Manning, like Mahomes, like Tom Brady. You have that guy. You can beat anybody now. And I'm telling you, man, this is the very early stages of when we look back, next year, 2 years from now, and we say this guy's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't want to, continue to add to that train right there, but I know that he's been performing, and it wasn't a surprise for me. What came into play is not only do we have the rookie of the year, but we have the coach of the year, man. D'Amico Ryans. Can't say enough about this guy either and what he's done, because, yeah, we know CJ Stroud is the captain and he makes everything go on the offensive side, but he doesn't play defense. And his defense had 2 interceptions, 2 pick six in a wild card game. That's rare to happen, first of all, to get a pick six in a playoff game, period. They had 2 of them. Their defense played dominant. I feel like they carry that over into going into Baltimore, with the Baltimore team that is very explosive. I have to give some praise to D'Amico Ryans as well, man. He has came in, he's mapped out, he's had a vision. He played, not only is it a great fit because he played for Houston, he knows the city. Man, this team with the quarterback and with the coach that they have, they're going to be great for years to come. I really see the future changing for the Houston Texans. I see them being a team like how the Buffalo Bills were when they first got Josh Allen, and they're going to be good for the next 10, 15 years.
Yeah. And it's, they last year they had the second pick in the draft and they were terrible. They were one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, it's a remarkable thing to see a team do a complete 180 and where they are today. So, I mean, D'Amico Ryans, shout out to him. And I mean, it's really great. I mean, to see a new coach come in and dominate, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's such a hard thing to do. I mean, you see guys who are very seasoned in this game and they get their chance and then they're out, and then they get another chance in a few years and then they're out. But to be a young coach and a former player, D'Amico Ryans was playing not too long ago. And I mean, one thing we should sometime talk about on this show is our former players better coaches than guys who aren't former players? Because I mean, we're seeing a lot of former players do very well at the head coaching job. I think other guys get motivated.
Shout out to Antonio Pierce getting the job today with the Raiders. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think you come from that lens and that perspective that you can see the game like the players because you played, you know the feel, you know how guys react in the locker room. You kind of you lived it for your part of your life. It's like, okay, I went to school to be a doctor and now I'm in the actual, I went, or that was a bad analogy I was going to do. I went to school to be, per se a detective, but I fell short and became a police officer. I'm still in the same line of work. I've been in those shadows before, and now I can play in this playing field. And that was a terrible analogy as well. But, just
No,
shooting.
no. I think it's good because you never know where life is going to take you, and you might just be so good, at kind of like in an unexpected area, in an unexpected area of field. Because I mean, D'Amico Ryans and Antonio Pierce might be better coaches than they were players when it's all said and done.
Yeah. But I mean, everybody, we've seen failures, we've seen fires. Mike Vrabel just got fired after kind of a longer stint with Tennessee. So it's not always like it's gonna, last forever that these coaches can, play at a high level, but it is very interesting. So I mean, for D'Amico Ryans in itself, I think that he's got a great nucleus at quarterback. Got to have a quarterback at number one. You talked a little bit about my Steelers. Of course, that's the issues that we're dealing with. And in NFL, if you don't have an elite quarterback, you can't go to the playoffs and make far impact in the playoffs. So I think that Houston has a great problem, and it's a problem good to have. Man, I want to swing over, pivot things to that frozen tundra game that Saturday night last week. Kansas City beating the Dolphins last week at home in a negative 30-degree weather. There was a star that emerged, and his name wasn't Travis Kelce. He was your boy, Rashid Rice, man. 8 for 130 and a touchdown, set a rookie record for Kansas City by a receiver for the most yards in rookie record for the Kansas City Chiefs of history. Has the Chiefs found their new weapon? Is this a great compliment with Travis Kelce? And how far does this take them? I know you're scratching your head there, looking for some hair on your head, but let me know, man. Where is this at, man?
All right. I'm going to let that one go because I brought up the Steelers in the beginning. Yeah, I believe with Rice, you have this target in the middle of the field, like what Travis Kelce used to, or he still is, but Travis Kelce in the middle of the field, Mahomes, they were like all, in the past. This year it was a little, it was a little harder, you know what I mean? Like Travis Kelce, he's fallen off a little bit. And I mean, I don't think so necessarily stat wise, but you just kind of see it. And Travis Kelce wasn't crazy explosive this year for fantasy and everything like that. But Rashid Rice is that target in the middle of the field. He is totally integrated into the offense now. I feel like as a rookie, it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to pick up. He's learned it now at the end of, by the end of the year, it's like muscle memory and stuff like that. And we're starting to see like the great final form of this duo. Yes, Rashid Rice is the new guy in town for the next, a long period of time. And Mahomes is very, very good. And so, I mean, he's the best quarterback in the league. So he has that guy now. I mean, what we saw with Tyreek, right? Tyreek was amazing. He had a great skill set, super fast. I mean, Mahomes made him, Mahomes didn't make him, but him and Mahomes were electrifying duo. If you can just, get a little something like that, you are totally like crushing teams, killing teams, burning teams. It's not the same skill set that Tyreek had. Obviously, it's different, but when you have that guy in the middle, and what's crazy is Travis Kelce plays in the middle of the field, so they'll be doing crossing routes. The middle of the field is going to be eaten alive by Mahomes and these three guys for the rest of the playoffs. And they're a run-first team right now with Pacheco. That's the way they built their team this year. It's hard defense and running the ball. So Kansas City, you got to watch out for them. You were saying, earlier about a pick there. So, I mean, if you want to talk about the kind of success you think they're going to have for the rest of the playoffs, I'd like to hear that.
Man, I'll get into that when we transition to there. Just to kind of go back off that game, I was not surprised. I called it. I said that the Dolphins wouldn't travel with the weather, and they kind of made it a game in that first quarter. Tyreek made a heck of a catch on that touchdown he had to not only fight off a defender, but get to the end zone. He's a special talent that we are going to miss shortly because you remember he did say he will retire after he completes his contract with the Dolphins, and I think he'll hold his word to that. The man has won a championship with the Kansas City Chiefs. The only reason he'll come back is if it's for money. I think he's had a great career, or if he wants to chase some, larger numbers far statistically to help his improvement to a Hall of Fame, which I think he will be a Hall of Fame guy. Tyreek is a once-in-a-lifetime special talent. Now, when we line up the numbers, we will have to see. But, no, man, I just think Kansas City and I go again like I did in the last last take with Houston, man. I'm not pushing from the offensive side. I'm pushing from the defensive side. They had a big pick in that game. They caused Tua a lot of trouble in the backfield with their front seven. We're not giving this year's Kansas City Chiefs enough credit that I wish I would have seen last year. I trust their defense more this year with a team that hasn't won the Super Bowl yet, rather than the team that did win the Super Bowl last year, with the defense that they're playing or the elite level they're playing at. They're more secure in the back end, in the secondary, and Chris Jones and Greg Skarnofskis or whatever, however you say his name. They're getting after the quarterback. I myself, I want to wait till we get to predictions, but I will say this. It's going to be a tough out to take the defending champions out of there. And I respect them more now because they're playing like they deserve it. It's not the fact that we're getting so hoopla on the ESPN hype, because I don't really think nobody at ESPN is really talking about them like they used to. We expect them to be great. We expect Mahomes to play great, but this defense is good, and that's what's undermined. I think out of the teams that have played in the playoffs thus far, because Baltimore and San Fran didn't play in the playoffs, so I think this is the toughest defense that has shown thus far. Think about it. Outside of the Bucs had a great performance versus the Eagles, but sound defense, I think Kansas City has played the best. And so I think that's what carries them into this next game. And it'll be interesting to see what Buffalo does to combat that. So
I got a question. So with the weather and, definitely being a conflict for Miami in that game, despite the weather, besides that, what are your thoughts on Tua? What are we thinking here? Because the weather's bad, but you're always gonna run into bad weather. I mean, it wasn't just this game as well. It was the end of the season. We definitely saw Miami trend downward a little bit, compared to how they were in the middle of the season. What are you thinking here with Tua? What are you thinking with the Dolphins? And is even the way that they're schemed, the way that their offense is set up, the way that they work, is the play calling, are they fit for a championship team? Do they play Super Bowl type of football?
I'm going to tell you this.
Playoff football.
And this is a great point because you're going right into the next pivot. The Dolphins look like a team in the NFC we're going to talk about right after this. And I just heard something from Ryan Clark on Instagram that is so true. And the Dolphins are starting to trend in this limelight, such as the Dallas Cowboys. They're all Americans in the regular season. They're all pro. They're all this. Gracefully, the Dolphins had a little bit more serious injuries than the Dolphins had a little bit more serious injuries than the Cowboys did late. They lost Bradley Chubb. They didn't play without Jalen Ramsey for the first half of the season. Xavier Howard was injured in there. Tua was injured. Jalen Waddle was injured. So, granted, they had certain injuries. But at the same time, the Dolphins played like front runners to me this whole season. I wasn't believing shit until I seen the playoffs. And I still don't believe anything. I think that there needs to be some shift in not the play calling per se, but there needs to be some shift in the identity of this team. What are we playing for? Are we playing for to be the greatest offense in regular season? Or are we playing to actually win championships? Are we building our teams to be built for longevity? Are we just building to just be a culture? Because you could be a culture, but a culture with identity is a championship team. And that's what they have to get. And that's what this next team, as we pivot, you look like your brain is fried. You're thinking about something kind of tough over there, man. I know. I gotta make
my brain ain't fried.
Gotta put a smile on your face, man. You over there serious.
I'm listening to you. I'm listening to you. I think this topic is very interesting because we talk about identity. And I was thinking about Kansas City when you said identity, because Kansas City really changed their identity this year from going to, a run team with Pacheco, a 6th-round draft pick who's really great. Shout out to Pacheco from Jersey. I feel like, their defense being a defensive first team, running the ball hard, and then relying on Mahomes and Kelsey and Rice to get them out of third downs is that's what they're doing, and it's working. So shout out to them. Good for them. Miami's identity. We thought that it was going to be this crazy, explosive offense all year, which it pretty much was. There was some injuries that it seems like that might have kind of messed things up. And if you have an injury to, I'm blanking on the guy's name right now, the other wide receiver, who's a
Waddle.
speed Waddle. So, if one guy's injury like that, and I don't think it necessarily was this, but Tyreek also got injured. And when those guys get a little bit banged up, it really, the whole identity of that offense fell off a cliff, and it was relied on Tua. And so many, bro, like I'm so sick of seeing these screens. Like the screen only works very few times in a game. You could not run a screen 30 times a game like Miami was doing. And I don't know if there's something wrong with his shoulder, but I mean, I don't understand it.
And I get to what you're trying to unravel further with Tua. And yeah, if honestly, bro, Tua's a great quarterback. I wouldn't put him on the level of Dan Marino, but he doesn't have it yet. And I don't know if he'll ever have it to be a Super Bowl champion quarterback or somebody that take them far in the playoffs.
He's totally deserves his job, and I'm not calling for Tua out like that. He's a great quarterback. He's a really good quarterback. He deserves his job.
I'll say this, bro. He's a little bit. I would take Kirk Cousins before I take Tua.
You mean the other way around?
No, I would take Kirk Cousins before I take Tua. I would. He's just as good as Kirk Cousins. But I like Kirk Cousins more. I would rather live with Kirk Cousins than Tua, bro. I'm being real.
But Kirk Cousins he deserves a starting quarterback job as well.
He's a little bit better than Tua. He's more consistent.
No, well, what I'm trying to say is that there's 15 guys who play quarterback who deserve to start and not lose that job.
And I'm saying the same thing. And I'm saying the same thing. What I'm saying is he doesn't have what it takes to go to the next level as far as winning playoffs games. I just think Kirk Cousins has it a little bit more. But
you think Kirk Cousins got that?
I'm comparing him to Kirk Cousins because they're both on that same line of talent and kind of like production, even though Kirk Cousins' production is a little bit better than me, way more efficient. You know exactly what you're going to get with Kirk Cousins almost every time. I don't know. Sometimes Tua will have a great game. Sometimes he'll be a game manager. This last season that Kirk Cousins played before this year, when Justin Jefferson went crazy, bro, that was the craziest year. If you want to go look at his stats, crazy, bro. No, and I think Kirk Cousins is a little bit better, bro. I really do. I really do, bro. I don't know. And I'm sorry, bro. I'm not trying to be, what I was going to say is I don't want to be prejudiced, and I don't want to be prejudiced against left-handed quarterbacks. They just don't pan out to me. The only one has always been Steve Young, bro.
What about Vic?
And this is the thing. You got Michael Penix coming in the draft, and he will be great. I never, outside of Steve Young, give me somebody else, left-handed quarterback who's accurate, regardless, that has been consistently good at winning, not performing well. No, winning. Michael Vick was a dog. That's not what I'm saying. Winning a championship, though. And Steve Young, to me, did it because he had the perfect storm. He had Jerry Rice, the greatest receiver. Weapons, a hell of a defense on the 49ers. But that's what I'm saying. It's weird that I'm saying that, but that's a real attribute that matters, that Tua is a left-handed quarterback who's very accurate, but he's not as agile either because he's been banged up. And two, he's dealing with a lot of that's like, if you look at his mechanics and how he moves, and Dan Orlovsky has talked about it, I just don't know, bro. So give me Kirk Cousins, bro. I'm telling you.
And the way that the league works is that he might get, traded, or he might get let go and get picked up by another team and really be pretty much guaranteed the starting quarterback spot because he has that opportunity. But the window is so small that you really kind of have to be great really soon if you're going to have a great career. And unless, it's not always, sometimes great seasons come about, but yeah, I mean, it is, you never know what's going to happen and, where, what GMs are going to do because, GMs sometimes, make some decisions that, can really change a franchise. I mean, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future.
So my question to you would be, I know we're talking about the Dolphins, but to pivot in to this next question, I said I compared them to what team? The Dallas Cowboys. They are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. So my question is, are the Cowboys trash, or were we sleeping on I said Justin, what's his name? Jordan Love.
LaFleur.
Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur.
Jordan
Were we sleeping on the Pack? Are the Cowboys trash or the Packers great? Because my answer, and quick, because I'd rather give you this take, let you speak a little bit more. I don't have my piece with the Cowboys. Cowboys are the same way. I said it. Ben said it. I'm not going to be like everybody else. It is what it is. We know who the Cowboys are. We know their fan base. We know Jerry Jones. We know all this. The Cowboys, I'm not going to say you're trash. They are just the champions of the regular season. Of late, especially, that Prescott's numbers, always good. CeeDee Lamb, blase blah. Micah Parsons, I don't know where he's been the last 8 weeks. He's been doing podcasts just like me and you. So I don't know what he's been doing or where he's been. Anybody who said he was in that contention with LT, I need to see that next year. I don't know. That's what I'm saying. So for me, Cowboys are just, and I don't get mad. I don't bash them like Stephen A, because I believe the Cowboys play to just be relevant in the regular season. So then this is always what they have to talk about. It's funny that people think that I'm like, this is my actual logic, but it's real. And it's starting to go into my next take, which leads into my team, because then people are always like, oh, well, Mike Tomlin is a great coach, in which he is, because we go above 500, but that's all the hell we've been playing for, it seems like, for the last 10, 12 years. And that's the same thing with the Cowboys. So to me, the Cowboys are not trash. I definitely think as a whole, analytical and the experts, we got it wrong with Jordan Love. He's here, and he's here to stay. Take it away, Parlay.
Well, Jordan Love, he didn't have a lot. He still doesn't really have like a lot of great receivers around him. And then midway end of the season, I mean, something happened. The whole team just got way better, and Jordan Love was balling. I mean, just
real quick stat. He has had the best QBR for the last 5 weeks at 99.3 average. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. But he's had the best out of any quarterback in the league.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's awesome. I mean, I'm not going to discredit Jordan Love at all. He's like proved me wrong. Like, because I did say that I didn't really believe in him at the beginning of the year or midway through the year. And now I'm totally believe in him. I think he's really great. Things are clicking now for that team. The defense is looking a little bit better, and the run game is on point, and then he's using the best of his receivers that he can use and that he's getting out of them. And Jordan Love is balling. Matt LaFleur did good coaching. I think that with the Cowboys, the Parsons to Lawrence Taylor comparisons were too early and they were wrong. And, you can be an explosive, great, athlete and player and make some great explosive plays. But if you don't do what LT did by taking on triple teams, double teams, and the only guy I've ever seen that has just the slightest bit of Lawrence Taylor in them is Aaron Donald, as of recently. I mean, Michael Parsons, no way. It's not even close. And the guy, he's a great pass rusher, but there's 10, 15, maybe 20 great pass rushers in the NFL.
And that's why I got to give Dan Orlowski his credit, bro. Dio is one of my favorite analysts on ESPN. People shit on him, but he knows what he's talking about. And he was breaking down the Cowboys defense, and I forgot their coach, their defensive coordinator. He's in an interview for a different job, but they just want to create chaos. And similar to what the Bucs did versus the Eagles, and we'll get to that briefly, but Cowboys defense wanted to create chaos, and that's what they did all year. And that's why Parsons goes into hiding, because when your defense is around chaos but no fundamental values, your performance rate is high or it's low. You get what I'm saying? Your risk, it's a very high risk or very high. It's a very high reward or it's a very high risk that you're not going to perform. And that's what the Packers did. They attacked their rushing D, which was terrible. They rushed the ball. They attacked, their front seven in the rushing form. Aaron Jones looked like an all-pro at running back. Dude ain't ran that well. He hadn't ran out well all year. He had 3 touchdowns on the ground. And
He was injured
and he was injured, and he had 100-something yards rushing
all year. I'm saying. So I mean, he balled out. That team, they play very well. It's going to be, I don't think they're going to beat the 49ers, but they definitely got a puncher's chance. I mean, and I think that I mean, like the Cowboys, the question here on the script is Cowboys trash or Packers great? And I lean more towards Cowboys trash. And that's just because it's the same thing every year, like you said. They poop the bed in the playoffs, and I mean, Mike McCarthy. I mean,
what's your take? They bringing him back. How are you feeling about that?
But I mean, it's like the identity of Mike McCarthy is the same identity as the Cowboys. You're a season, like you said, they win the season and then they lose in the playoffs. Mike McCarthy has been that way. He was like that right before he left Green Bay as well. So I think that you have almost a bad marriage in Dallas. And I mean, Jerry, I think maybe is making a mistake by bringing him back when you got a lot of good coaches waiting for a job.
You know what they said? It's cheaper to keep her. That's what Jerry's looking at. That's how he's looking at it. If you're talking about equivalent to it's cheaper to keep right now. I mean, this is the thing in all forms, because it's not even just about money. I think it's Jerry feels like they have a good scheme. They have a good kind of, in which they do, but what is going to get them to the next level is showing up when it matters. And how do you do that? I think you have to be in a sense of raising the bar of your play, and it starts with your preparation. There was no change for them from Thanksgiving to now in the way they played. They've lost a couple games. I think they probably went 6-2 since Thanksgiving, and they didn't change nothing. They didn't grow nowhere defensively.
Yeah,
it just kind of glided. They kind of glided just like the Eagles, and we'll get to the Eagles, but it didn't look worse because their defense was able to get away with more because they had actual better players.
They relied on their talent.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's it. They just relied on their talent.
And so it hurt them in the long run, man. So we'll definitely get to the Packers in the next segment. But, yeah, the Cowboys got some things to do. But 1, 2, 3, Cancun Cowboys. Here we go. Still beating, man. I don't really got much to say about this one. Buffalo beat my team 31-17 in a game where I really feel like the NFL has kind of scripted this. We played on Monday instead of Sunday due to the weather effects. But I'll say this, man. Mike T's coming back. He's already announced it. I think Mason Rudolph deserves a backup role. So I would bring him on a contract. I'll bring him back. Kenny, I would make my third string, and I'll be trying to find a quarterback. I think that's our biggest issue. Quarterback play, inside linebacker play, and D-backs. That's really our issues.
Moving Kenny down to third string.
Yeah. Who?
Wow.
Yeah, Kenny to third, bro. And this is respect. The reason why I say move Kenny to third, because he has to have time to grow. He had one great season at Pitt. That's where we're taking his film off of, and then we're bringing him in to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. Not going to work it could have maybe worked for a team like San Francisco, where they have the pieces around to kind of, we're not a system offense. And I don't want to be a system offense. I like how our offense is designed, and we finally started to find ourselves with Najee and with Jalen and GP, and Deontay definitely started to pick his play up towards the end. So I think we definitely need to reevaluate some things, but I think Mike Tomlin, this is a year for him to really shake some things up, and I hope he does. And I think the Buffalo Bills play pretty good. I'm not going to give them more credit than they deserve. They have a great quarterback in Josh Allen, made a heck of a play on that 52-yard rushing touchdown. But we were in a game, man, and we let them win. You can't turn the ball over in the playoffs. That's major. We had two turnovers, serious drives. The one in the beginning, and then the one driving. We're on the goal line to score a touchdown. Why won't we just run the ball there? Or do a play action pass? Why are we running out routes 5 yards off the goal line? Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah. No, I I don't believe in Buffalo. I think they're going to lose to Kansas City. We're going to get to the picks, but yeah, I think that there was also some bad calls in that game. That big 52-yard run, Josh Allen did a fake slide and pulled a Kenny Pickett there, and did a fake slide that should have been called back. But yeah, I think that with Pittsburgh, it will be interesting to see who your OC is next year, and I would just say with Buffalo going in against Kansas City, it's a lot is going to be relied upon on Josh Allen. Gabe Davis is out. Stephon Diggs. I mean, we haven't really seen a lot of Stephon Diggs this year. It'd be a good time for him to show up and have a big game against the cornerback for Kansas City. I think his name is McDougie.
McDougal or Snide or Sneed.
Sneed. They got some good corners over there. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a good one. I could, look towards the under there, but we'll have to get there.
I think this has always been a game for him to play well, Stephon Diggs. And I think he will, because different than what Kansas City and how they played Miami, they were so much of respecting Tyreek's speed. I think this game, they'll try to play a little bit man, but if they play zone, Stephon Diggs does a great job of finding the pockets in the zone. And so I think this is a game that he'll excel at. Their tight ends are Dalton Kincaid and man, I keep blanking. I got to make sure I have these sheets prepared next time.
Kincaid and Dawson Knox.
Dawson Knox. I don't like being unprepared for this, man. So, but yeah, I think Buffalo will make it somewhat a game. Their rushing offense has been playing well too. I don't think they're going to get 76 yards on Kansas City from Josh Allen rushing. I mean, we let up the big run, but he's only doing that versus certain teams. Kansas City is going to keep him in the pocket. They're going to spy a linebacker probably, and then they're going to make him win the game. And then I think, too, this is where I see James Cook kind of declining. He's been playing phenomenal these last 4 games, and I think that they definitely found a star in their starting running back, finally somebody that consistently get them 70, 80 yards. He reminds me the same way of what Isaiah Pacheco is for Kansas City, a solid back that's going to get you around 60 to 80 yards a game. He may cap off 100, and he's been playing good. But, yeah, all signs saying Kansas City in this one. We'll get to that in our prediction. And in the last game of the wild card, man, we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers not upset the Eagles, because it wasn't an upset. I seen this coming. You seen this coming. Ray Charles.
Right. You did call this.
Ray Charles seen this coming.
You called this. Yes, right.
Stevie Wonder seen this coming, man. I knew it was coming. The Eagles are bad. I don't know what's going on in their locker room. It's just a bad time to fold like this for certain teams like that, bro. Cowboys, Eagles. Todd Bowles played a hell of a game. He is not going to be able to play cover 1 in man blitz on Detroit, or it will be a long day for the Bucs. But is the Baker back? Because the Baker was cooking, man.
Yeah. Baker's been back, plays better with the lights off, and I think we need to keep those lights off. And Tampa Bay is not the biggest star. Mike Evans is a bigger star, and Rashid White, they definitely lean on Rashid White, who's going a little bit under the radar. I mean, he was like top 4 running backs in the league this year. Next year, he's going to be a fantasy beast. He's going to be super targeted, and I think his stock is going to rise a lot. So I think that with Tampa Bay, you have this thing where it's like you're playing with house money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're playing with house money, but they don't feel like they're playing with house money. Those guys, Mike Evans wants to get a Super Bowl. That defense wants to get, another Super Bowl. They want to, I think they're going to ball out. I mean, it's going to be a good game. I'm rooting for them, just in the sense that it's kind of like this underdog type of, thing that's going on with them. But it's good. It's going to be interesting. You're right. As far as the matchup goes with cover 1 and all that. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Detroit, definitely 2 different teams. Like their identities are very different in my eyes. And, the coaches are very different. Dan Campbell and Todd Bowles are both very different. So it will be interesting with Philadelphia. They were always kind of expected to do well in the playoffs and go to the playoffs and do well in the playoffs. And in the beginning of the year, they were favored to go to the Super Bowl. And I think that, Jalen Hurts was kind of up and down all year. Didn't really look like the same Jalen Hurts from last year. And it's interesting. I think that they had this thing going with the offensive line just killing it and really doing whatever they wanted. And then when teams figured that out, they weren't able to adapt to, okay, now we got to throw the ball. Now we got to play a little bit of a different offense. It seems like they never made adjustments throughout the year. So kind of says a lot about Nick Sirianni, more so than anything, I think, not making the right adjustments throughout the year.
Yeah, I mean, I think that showed his age in far as experience as a head coach in the league. For one, I mean, he lost his defensive coordinator and his linebackers coach to Arizona, and he lost his offensive coordinator to the Colts. And so, a lot of shifting and changing for him that he had to make a lot of big boy moves, big boy calls and things like that. And so they too relied on their talent. And some of their things was the lack of talent that they had. Although they drafted well to some, it didn't turn out that way in other ways. That D-line, half of the sacks that they had last year with better talent, and then their DBs giving up more touchdowns than they did last year with better talent. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you're going to say or what they're going to do in this offseason. I think they need to look in the mirror. I don't know what this issue is going to be with A.J. Brown. That definitely was very fishy to me towards the end of the year, and I don't know if he may be traded, bro. I possibly see that in the sense of like there was frustrations there, and I don't know how you make that unclear because if you recall, first 8 weeks of the season, 9 weeks, we were saying him and Tyreek Hill were playing the best as the best two receivers in the year. And once you say we finished, you'd probably say Tyreek Hill and CeeDee Lamb somewhere in there. No AJ Brown. I don't think he.
Yeah, I think at the beginning of the year you said CeeDee Lamb wasn't top 5 wide receivers in the league. Didn't you say that?
I did say that, and I respectfully still say he's not.
Oh,
I in the league right now. I mean, this is my thing. A lot of people can have a great season, in which he did.
I had to bring it back.
I'm not bringing it back because to me,
no, I had to bring it back. I said I had to bring it back.
He's not taking over a game, and obviously that didn't show in the Packers. He couldn't take over that game to be that guy. I know Justin Jefferson would do that.
All right, let's hear your top.
If you put Tyreek Hill in the Cowboy Stadium versus the Cowboys in the playoffs and not minus 30 degrees versus the Chiefs, he'll take the game over.
I agree. So who's your top 5?
Top 5, I'm going.
Got him on the spot.
Top 5 receivers.
We got Tyreek. We got Jay Jets.
Jamar Chase.
Is
better than CeeDee Lamb. Devontae Adams is still better than CeeDee Lamb. Y'all can get. I don't do if they're old or not. I do if they're proven. It's tough. You could go AJ Brown, Mike Evans, Keenan Allen, whoever you want to go right there.
Wow.
And I'm leaving a lot.
I had to hear it.
I'm leaving a lot. I'm leaving Stephon Diggs out. Stephon Diggs is right there. I'll take Stephon Diggs before I take CeeDee Lamb. I'm not shunning him like that, but to put him the top 5 receivers right now after having Amon-Ra St. Brown is good. But I mean, it's tough, bro.
He should be in the top 5, St. Brown. He was balling.
He can take a game over because that's their offense. The Cowboys can't take a game over. They just play well in the regular season. They have to show me that they can. But enough about them.
I'm sorry for bringing it up.
Let's make some picks here, man.
Let's do
it. Alrighty. First game of the week tomorrow, divisional. 4:30 Eastern, 3:30 Central Time. I got to say Central because I'm in the Central. The Houston Texans will be traveling to the Baltimore Ravens, who are their number 1 seed, playing at home, had a rest. Hopefully they had a good rest. Don't want them to show up and show not out. 28 degrees weather, looking pretty sunny. No real complications of weather this week, which I hope is great. Fairly cold for the Houston Texans. Ravens has played in the cold, so this shouldn't affect them too bad. The line is opening up as a minus 9.5 on the Ravens. The over-under is 43.5, and it started at 45, so it has come down. So what does that tell me? This tells me that Vegas believes the Ravens defense is going to show up tomorrow. How do you see it before I make my pick?
Okay, this is how I see it. A lot of new money coming in on the playoffs. Football is more exciting. You know, people who don't usually watch football are starting to watch football. 9.5 is too many. Marlon Humphrey is out. CJ Stroud and Nico Collins still got that thing.
Got
I
that
believe-
thing.
Still got that thing. I think that you take Houston plus 9.5. Like, I mean, I don't know why the number is that much. I mean, 7 would be a little bit, more reasonable. 9.5, that's just disrespectful. I will happily take Texans plus 9.5.
Okay, that's your pick.
That's my pick.
Man, it's a little bit interesting for me because I agree with you in everything of the disrespect and Marlon Humphreys being out. But my take too is like, I really feel like this Ravens team is going to try to figure it out. And it's more so on their defense. And so this can be a game where, like I said, run game is very vital on both ends here. Run game, run game, run game. I know what Baltimore wants to do traditionally. I'm not saying that they can't compete because they have the MVP and they are more than capable with the offense that they do have to be in a shootout. But what I am going to say, I don't think they want a shootout with CJ because I think then you ride on momentum and you get out of making play calls as coaching and schemes or identity of what you see in the game at, and you're just trying to go back and forth whoever has the ball at the end, and it basically comes down to your quarterback. So for me, I agree with you. I am going to roll with the Texans. I'm going to buy a point, and I'm going to go plus 10.5 Texans. And I think that this game goes under 43.5. This
Good
is a
stuff.
low-scoring game. It's a battle of run games. I think that CJ Stroud makes an error. He shows some rookie glimpses here tomorrow, but I overall think that the Ravens will win this game.
We should shout out Singletary, Devin Singletary, the running back for the Texans. I think he's got a new life in Texas, and I think that's pretty dope because he was a high draft pick for Buffalo, or not. I don't think it was a high draft pick, but he was supposed to be.
He was the running back for years, yeah.
Right, he was supposed to be the guy, and I don't think he really got a solid, workload. And now in Houston, I think that he's gonna get re-signed and be the guy there. And just good for him, you know what I mean? Because he's putting on good games. I mean, he's had games where he had 140 yards rushing. I mean, it's really definitely going under the radar because the success of CJ Stroud. But good for him.
When you hear words like believe and faith in players, it's real in all professions. And I just think this guy has the belief of the Houston Texans organization and players behind him, from the coaches to the players to the GM in the front office. And that's why he's playing well. I don't think he had that in Buffalo. So I agree with you, man. Flowers to Devin Singletary. On to the Packers, traveling to the 1 seed who was resting as well last week, the San Francisco 49ers. I've said a lot of good, bad, and ugly this year from August to now about the San Francisco 49ers, but they are coming into a 9.5 favorite, and the over-under is a little bit more rather larger at over-under 50.5. How do you see this one, Parlay?
Yeah, I think that sorry, my thing just went out.
Today, Junior.
Yeah, Green Bay, San Francisco. It's another game where the 9.5 is a really large number. It seems like they kind of slap it on the first overall seeded teams going against these teams who are, we're a little bit lower. 9.5, could this really get out of hand with San Francisco? They're so dominant. It could get out of hand. But 50.5, is telling that there's going to be a lot of points scored, and they think it's going to be, by San Francisco. So I guess the best way for me to look at it is to go over with San Francisco total points, which is, I don't know what it is, but I can just do it in the math. It's probably going to be Man, is it going to be 35?
Heck,
Uh,
20. If it's 50, that means it's 25-25.
no, but with the 9.5,
I would say that
35 to,
I would say 32.
yeah. So if it's 32
You think they
points,
get over 30 points, really?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough. That's actually kind of a tough bet to make. I actually won't do that. Sorry. Just thinking about this now, this is rapid fire. Obviously, I'm not going rapid, but I am thinking about this for the first time. I guess would have to go under 50.5 because San Francisco's defense really has the ability to really shut teams down. And we have seen Green Bay struggle, and talent-wise, it's not like the offense is crazy talented besides Jordan Love. Aaron Jones is talented, but yeah, that's the best way I could look at it is under 50.5 or under total points for Green Bay. But I'd rather do the 50. It's going to be the bigger number. And San Francisco might, coming off a bye, we see teams lag coming off a bye sometimes. So it could affect their offense as well.
Man, I got to take a point away from my boy D.O. again. Dan Orlowski made a great analogy about breaking down some Jordan Love film and how he's relatable to Brett Favre, A-Rod, with throwing off the back leg, and he made a couple plays in that wild card versus Cowboys like that. So he kind of gets out of his norm in his mechanics fundamentally in his throwing motion and in his feet and everything. And I just think that what he said is true. San Francisco is a little bit more fundamentally sound on defense than the Cowboys, and I think they're going to cause him to throw an interception or two or cause a fumble or something. And I'm with you on the under, but this is why even more that I'm going to lay the points with the 49ers, and I'm going to go minus 9.5. I think once the 49ers get a little bit of momentum of creating some turnovers, get up a little bit, they're going to put the gas on, and then it's going to be too much for the Packers. I've seen this before. If you want to recall, Raheem Mostert some years back in a divisional game versus the Packers went bonkers, like 244 and 3 touchdowns type deal. And so I see the same makings here. And that's when they had Aaron Rodgers at their quarterback. So I don't think this is a good turnout. They will shut down Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones won't be a factor. You have Chase Young, you have Bosa, you have Hargrave, you have Wagner, you have, you got all these guys in the offense. You got who you got, CMC, Kittle, Ayuk, Debo. I think it's going to be lights out for the Packers. 49ers cruise through this one. I'm laying a 9.5.
Nice.
Sunday, man. Hey, Buccaneers traveling to Detroit. It will be rocking because, like Pat McAfee show says, this is what they say, Hillemeyer. Brand new Lions. I thought you knew it. The brand new Lions. Brand new Lions. Brand new Lions. The brand new Lions. Sunday afternoon in Detroit. The ticket sales are about $1,100 I've seen per ticket for a divisional ticket in Detroit. The line is opening up Detroit minus 6.5, over under 48.5. How do you see this one, Parlay?
So I would be looking at this. I'm going to roll with Detroit, and I would either go with you can choose depending on how you feel, but first half or second half. I do think, the first half is going to be 3 or 2.5. So I would, do that or the full 6.5. I would probably lean towards the first half, minus the points on Detroit, probably 2.5 to 3.5, because Tampa Bay, they are a little bit of a second half team. And they turn up. They actually do get a little bit better in the second half. I do think, the spread is 6.5. There's, I think, the potential of Detroit getting up early and the game being unwinnable by Tampa Bay, but then possibly backdoor cover, with the, in the late in the fourth. So I'm probably leaning towards the first half Detroit. I think they're a better team. I think it's their time. I think the offense is explosive. I think the offense is the most explosive offense in the league right now. It's their defense is really what's lackluster. So if you wanted to look at the over on points, you could, but I do think that they win this game, and I think they cover.
My best bet is Mike Evans over 4.5 catches. After what Puka did last week, Mike Evans has a big game versus the Lions defensive secondary, which is their probably their weakest link on the defense in my eyes. But That's my best bet. But what I will go for the sake of the show, because everything you said was very valid, I think that Tampa kind of keeps this game at a reasonable rate versus the first 3 quarters. Detroit makes a couple plays just like they did in the wild card versus the Rams to kind of solidify this game. I think they do have the better quarterback in Jared Goff. I think they have the better coaching in Dan Campbell, and I think that this is just their time again. I do, however, I will since the money line is not overly aggressive, it's at a reasonable for me. It probably wouldn't be reasonable for Parlay because he's more of a guy that would bet at a -1 something. I'll even bet in the -290. I would lay the money line. I'm gonna just lay the money line with Detroit. That's just where I'm laying that at.
That's cool. And you can always parlay that with
Yeah.
with an underdog or something else, and your odds are going to be a lot better.
Yes, but I don't know about 6.5. It's a weird number. I find my numbers again for me, so it's just a weird number for me. Kansas City not playing at Arrowhead for the first time in a while in a divisional game. We'll be traveling to Buffalo for the 5:30 game. I'm kind of with Mad Dog on First Take. I don't know why they should have played Detroit as the night game and put this game in the day just for weather purposes. It's going to be more cold when the sun goes down and for viewing. I just think that Detroit's time right now, we should give them the primetime game on a Sunday night. But anyways, the Chiefs will be going to Buffalo. The line is opening up at -2.5. The over-under is 45.5. You know where I'm going with this one. This is an easy bet for me. I'll say it already. Chiefs +3.5.
Hey, give me the Chiefs money line. They're
wow. +130 right now on the money line.
They're beating Buffalo. They're a better team than Buffalo. Buffalo, really they had some good calls against Pittsburgh. People really, didn't feel good about that. I mean, Buffalo just started getting it together. They're squeaking out wins. I don't believe in Buffalo. Kansas City really got it together. They really have like a well working wheel, good structured machine going over there. And like I said, bro, it's just you run the ball with Pacheco, you rely on Mahomes and Kelsey and Rice to get you out of third down, the best to do it with a solid defense, top 3.
Yeah. No, I agree, bro. It's weird that I actually like the Chiefs more this year than I did last year. It's weird. I didn't want them to win the Super Bowl because Nick was coaching.
Because you like the defense.
Yeah, it's their defense. And then I just can respect Mahomes. It's more so you respect the team when they go through a little bit of adversity and you really see it. Like they haven't found a weapon, but now that we feel like they found one with Rashid Rice and they've overcome that challenge and are still in the playoffs and they're still winning. Dallas, I have no excuse for you. Come on, man. That's what I'm saying. Teams that are great find ways to win even when the odds are against them. And the Chiefs are doing that, bro. And so I'm with you. This is the easiest pick of all 4 of the games for me. +3, even if they lose, I can't see Buffalo whooping the Chiefs.
Yeah. No, it's like we both are very confident in this, but this is a show where, we talk about risk and we talk about money, and those are 2 very serious things in people's lives. So you can't just rely on us. This is not financial advice, and we say that every time. We're just giving our best opinions on it. And of course, it's always the famous last words. When everybody picks one team, that team loses, right? Like that's what happens on the TV shows all the time. So if Buffalo wins, we're wrong and we'll accept it. But it's, I really like what you said about the personality factor too. It's like when you watch these teams, they show a personality, not just players. Sure, players are important, but the team personality, which is a combination of all the players and the coaches, it's really, really important. And I think that Kansas City's got the grit. They got the better, they've overcome more and they have the experience and they really got it all going for them. So it'll be interesting, you know what I mean, if they go to the AFC Championship and, who they got to face there, if it's Baltimore, if it's Houston. I mean, it's going to be an interesting year if they go all the way to the playoff, if they go all the way to the Super Bowl and Mahomes is in the Super Bowl again and they win. I mean, we're going to be saying some really insane things about Patrick Mahomes.
I mean, if they win, that's a dynasty, and there's no sugarcoating it. And what Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Mahomes, Travis Kelce, Hall of Famers, and I will tip my hat to that. And they're respected. They're in my books as one of the greatest organizations. If they win this one, this would be the most surprising. And who's to say that they really couldn't? Honestly, outside, when I look at who's on the NFC side, the only team I don't really want them, they wouldn't want to see would be San Francisco. I just think that would be the toughest matchup for them. But if they get any other team, it's it, man. So any final words you got to say, Parlay, man? It's been a hell of a one today, man.
Yeah. No, we're having fun, man. This is a great podcast. It's the best #1 podcast in the world. I think everybody
Are you getting sleep, my friend? You look like you have 3 kids and you're tired. And
I got a lot going on, bro. We got the 16 a day from Parlay. You know what it is. We got bro bets.
Can you give us an exclusive 16 a day off rip real quick, man? If I just make a little beat real quick.
All right, let's do it. You gotta do a beat. You got a beat? Oh, I can't even hear your beat.
Oh, I gotta give you a beat? Okay.
No, I can't hear it because I think it's the noise from the microphone. But no, we just go off the top. No beat.
Okay. 16 a day. Okay.
Spoken word right at the top of the dome. This is bro bets. You know what it is. We the next coming up in the biz. Hey, we getting cheese like Cheese Whiz. You know what it is. I'm such a whiz, but I smoke like whiz. Shit. I ain't got no beat, so I'm just saying rhyming words. I ain't really want to do this. It's kind of getting absurd. But Dre told me to do it, and I got to act off a cue. It's Parlay. Phew. I don't know what I'm doing here, but we about to go to the commercial break. You know what it is.
We're out of here. See you guys next week.